Hello students, good day! Welcome to Grade 9 Science for Quarter 2. I am your teacher, Teacher Cherry. Ngayong araw ay matututunan nyo ang mga sumusunod. Lesson 1, Prior Knowledge on Atomic Structure. Lesson 2, Development of Atomic Models. Lesson 3, Electron Configuration. Sabayan niyo akong basahin ang ating objectives para sa ating lesson. At the end of the day, you are expected to: Number 1, trace the development of atomic model. Number 2, recognize the basis for the quantum mechanical model of atoms. Number 3, explain how the quantum mechanical model of the atom describes the energies and positions of the electrons. Number 4, write the electron configuration of given elements. Handa na ba kayo para sa ating unang lesson? Ang ating unang lesson ay tungkol sa prior knowledge on atomic structure. Simulan na natin. Bago tayo magsimula, maaari niyo bang sagutan ang activity na ito? Sabay-sabay nating basahin. Activity 1, Atom and its subatomic particles. In this activity, you will recall what an atom is and its structure. Read each statement and identify what is being described. Arrange the scrambled letters to get the answer. Write your answer in a separate answer sheet. Number 1, smallest constituent of matter. Number 2, subatomic particle that has a relative charge of -1. Number 3, subatomic particle that has a relative charge of +1. Number 4, subatomic particle that has a relative charge of 0. Number 5, dense region at the center of the atom. Bibigyan ko kayo ng 1 minuto para sagutan ang activity na ito. Ready? I-check natin ang inyong mga sagot. For number 1, the smallest constituent of matter is atoms. Number 2, the subatomic particle that has a relative charge of -1 is electrons. Number 3, the subatomic particles that has a relative charge of +1 is protons. And number 4, the subatomic particles that has a relative charge of 0 is neutrons. And number 5, the dense region at the center of the atom is nucleus. Tama ba ang inyong mga sagot? Paki-check na lamang po ang inyong mga papel. This is the illustration of structure of atom. In this activity, you are going to label the structure of the atom based your answer from activity 1. Dito, isusulat nyo ang inyong natutunan sa una nating activity. Bibigyan ko kayo ng 1 minuto para sagutan ito. Nakuha niyo ba ang tamang sagot? Ang isang atom ay binubuo ng 3 charges. Ito ay ang neutrons, electrons, at protons. Nasa loob ng nucleus ang charges ng neutrons at protons. At nakapalibot naman dito ang electrons. Yan ang mga bumubuo sa isang atom. Sana'y nakuha nyo ang tamang sagot. Matapos nating pag-aralan ang atomic structure ng atom, ngayon ay pag-aaralan naman natin ang development of atomic models. Handa na ba kayo? Simulan na natin. Atin naman ngayong sasagutan ang activity na ito upang maging gabay natin sa ating lesson. Sabay-sabay nating basahin. Activity 1. Atomic Models. This activity, you are going to trace the development of the atomic model. Use the math cards below in completing the timeline. Nakasulat dito ay ang iba't ibang atomic model, gaya ng billiard ball model, planetary model, nuclear model, plum pudding model, quantum mechanical model, at ang mga proponent ng mga nasabing model, gaya ni Joseph John Thomson, Erwin Schrödinger, Ernest Rutherford, Niels Bohr, John Dalton. Nakasulat dito ang iba't ibang description ng mga nasabing atomic models. Sabay-sabay nating basahin. Una, electrons move around the nucleus in a cloud not in orbits. Electrons exist in specific energy levels. Pangalawa, atom is made of sphere of positive charge with negatively charged electron embedded in it. Pangatlo, electrons orbit the nucleus. These orbits have specific size and energy. Pang-apat, atoms are mainly empty space and mass is concentrated in the center of an atom called nucleus. Electrons are outside the nucleus. Panglima, matter is made of tiny particles which are indivisible and indestructible. Imamatch natin ang mga nasabing atomic model, proponent, at description sa mga larawang ito. Dito ipapakita ang development of atomic models timeline. Pero bago natin sagutan ito, magkakaroon muna tayo ng simple discussion about atomic models. Umpisahan na natin. Ano-ano ang mga nakapaloob sa John Dalton's atomic theory? Una, everything is composed of atoms, which are indivisible building blocks of matter and cannot be destroyed. Pangalawa, all atoms of an element are identical. Pangatlo, the atoms of different elements vary in size and mass. Pang-apat sa John Dalton's atomic theory ay sinasabing compounds are produced through a different whole number combination of atoms. Pang-lima, a chemical reaction results in the rearrangement of atoms in the reactant and product compounds. Ito ang mga sinasabi dito sa John Dalton's atomic theory. Next is J.J. Thomson or Joseph John Thomson cathode ray experiment. Thomson discovered the negatively charged particles, electrons, through his cathode ray experiment. He noticed a movement in tube. He called the movement cathode rays. The rays move from the negative end of the tube to the positive end. He realized that the rays were made of negatively charged particles, electrons. And based on the result of his experiment, he came out with a new atomic model known as plum pudding model. It described that the atom is made of sphere of positive charges with negatively charged electrons embedded in it. Next is Rutherford gold foil experiment. How did Ernest Rutherford come up with another atomic model? He based it on his gold foil experiment. Rutherford disproved Sir J.J. Thomson's model of the atom as a uniformly distributed substance, because only very few of the alpha particles in his beam were scattered by large angles after striking the gold foil, while most passed completely through. Rutherford knew that the gold's atoms must be concentrated in tiny dense nucleus. Next is Bohr model. He uses hydrogen atomic spectra. Neil Bohr says that electron has a definite energy in each orbit, which increases as the distance of the orbit from nucleus increases. There is no absorption or emission of the energy if the electron stays in its orbit. However, when an electron absorbs extra energy, this electron moves to the higher energy level. This when we say that the electron becomes excited, making the atom unstable. If an excited electron jumps down a level, it loses energy. The energy the electron loses becomes light when a frequency corresponding to a change in energy. Bohr's models depends on a connection between the frequency of the light and the energy of the level change. If light of a frequency corresponding to the energy change interacts with the atom, the electron can absorb the light and jump up a level. The main problem with Bohr's model was insufficient explanation to describe atoms with more than one electron. And these are the three physicists led the development of a better model of atom. First, we have Louis de Broglie. He proposed that electron could be a wave. Next is Erwin Schrödinger. He formulated a mathematical equation to describe the hydrogen atom. This equation leads to the model of quantum mechanical. Next, Werner Karl Heisenberg. He discovered that the location of a very small light particle, like electron, cannot be exactly known, and how it is moving. It is called the uncertainty principle. What is the quantum mechanical model? This shows that the atom has a nucleus at the center that's surrounded by the moving electrons. The electrons are described as a cloud of negative charge with a geometric shape. These electrons are arranged in principal, or main energy level, also called as shells, that consist of one or more sublevels. Sa tulong ng ating simple discussion, kaya nyo na bang sagutin ang ating development of atomic model timeline? Bibigyan ko kayo ng 1 minuto para isulat ang atomic model, proponent, at description sa bawat illustration. Simulan na natin. Ngayon, ay check na natin ang inyong mga sagot. For development of atomic models timeline, letter A, billiard ball model. Ang proponent nito ay si John Dalton. Sinasabing, a matter is made of tiny particles which is indivisible and indestructible. For letter B, ito ay ang plum pudding model ni Joseph John Thomson. Sinasabing atom is made out of sphere of positive charges with negatively charged electron embedded in it. For letter C, it is the nuclear model. Proponent is Ernest Rutherford. It says that atoms are mainly empty space and mass is concentrated in center of atom called nucleus. Electrons are outside nucleus. For letter D, we have the planetary model proposed by Niels Bohr, saying that electrons orbit the nucleus and these orbits have specific size and energy. And last, we have the quantum mechanical model by Erwin Schrödinger, saying that electrons move around the nucleus in a cloud, not in orbits. Electrons exist in specific energy levels. Sana'y nakuha nyo ang lahat ng tamang sagot. Pag-check na lamang po ng inyong mga papel. Matapos ang quantum mechanical model, ay pag-aaralan naman natin ngayon ay ang electron configuration. Kung ano ang ibig sabihin nito. Handa na ba kayo? Electron configuration is the way which electrons are arranged in the electron shells of the atom. Electrons always fill the electron shells with lower energy first. Table 1 shows the distribution of electron in shells. We have shell 1, 2, 3, and 4. The number of electrons a shell can hold is 2 for shell 1, 8 for shell 2, 18 for shell 3, and 32 number of electrons for shell 4. The relative energies of electron in each shell is from lower to higher energy. Shells are divided into subshells designated by letter S, P, D, and F, and these subshells are grouped into orbital. Orbital is a region of space that can hold one or maximum of 2 electrons. Orbitals have specific energy values and particular shapes and direction. The s orbitals are spherical, p orbitals are dome-shell-shaped. The shape of the d and f orbitals were derived from complex calculation and will not be discussed in this lesson. The S subshell can hold maximum of 2 electrons. The P subshell can hold a maximum of 6 electrons. D subshell can hold maximum of 10 electrons. F subshell can hold a maximum of 14 electrons. Table 2, the distribution of orbitals within the shell. We have the shell, orbitals contained in each shell, the illustration, and the maximum number of electrons shell can hold. In shell 1, there is one s orbital. The illustration is this. The maximum number of electrons shell can hold is 2. In shell 2, 1 2s and 3 2p orbitals. The maximum number of electrons shell can hold is 2 plus 6 equals 8. The shell 3 is 1 3s, 3 3p, and 5d orbitals. And that is the illustration. The maximum number of electrons shell can hold is 2 plus 6 plus 10 equals 18. In shell 4, there is 1 4s, 3 4p, 5 4d, and 7 4f orbitals. That is the illustration. The maximum number of electrons shell can hold is 2 plus 6 plus 10 plus 14 is equals to 32. These are the guidelines how to make the electron configuration of elements. Number 1. Find the atom's atomic number. Atomic number corresponds to the element's number of electrons. Example, neon. Neon has an atomic number of 10. It means it has 10 electrons. Number 2. Familiarize the number of electrons that an orbital can hold. As an atom gains electrons, they fill different orbitals sets according to a specific order. The s orbital set contains single orbital that can hold a maximum of 2 electrons. The p orbital set contains 3 orbitals and thus can hold a total of 6 electrons. The d orbital set contains 5 orbitals, so it can hold 10 electrons. The f orbital set contains 7 orbitals, so it can hold 14 electrons. Number 3. Memorize the order of the orbitals. Note that the orbital sets are numbered by electron shell, but ordered in terms of energy. The order for filling orbitals is as follows: 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, 3d, 4p, 5s, 4d, 5s, 6s, 4f, 5d, 6p, 7s, 5f, 6d, 7p, and 8s. Number 4. Fill in the orbitals according to the number of electrons in your atom. Example, neon. Neon has 10 electrons. 1s orbital gets 2 electrons. 2s orbital gets 2 electrons. 2p orbital gets 6 electrons. And it is equal to 10 electrons. Thus, the electron configuration for neon is 1s2, 2s2, and 2p6. Table 3 shows the arrangement of electrons in the atoms of the first 10 elements. Showing to you the chemical symbol of the first 10 elements from hydrogen to neon. And we have the number of electrons from 1 to 10. We have the orbitals of 1s, 2s, and 2p, followed by the electron configuration of the first 10 elements. In this section, you will write the electron configuration of elements. Base your answers on the given electron configuration table. Para malaman natin kung naunawaan nyo ang mga guidelines sa pagsulat ng electron configuration, in this section, you will write the electron configuration of the elements. Base your answer on the given electron configuration table. Mahaba-habang oras ang kailangan natin sa pagsagot nito. Pero bago kayo mag-proceed sa susunod na slide, i-post niyo muna ito ng mahaba-habang oras. Okay lang ba sa inyo? Tapos na ang inyong mahabang oras. Maaari na natin i-check ang inyong mga sagot. Sana'y nakuha nyo ng tama ang mga sagot sa number of electrons at electron configuration ng mga nasabing elemento. I hope naabot natin ang ating mga objectives sa lesson na ito. Una, na-trace natin ang development of atomic model. Pangalawa, na-recognize natin ang basis for the quantum mechanical model of atoms. Pangatlo, na-explain natin how the quantum mechanical model of an atom describes the energies and position of electrons. At pang-apat, write the electron configuration of given elements. Maraming salamat sa inyong oras. Naway mayroon kayo natutunan sa araw na ito. Paalam!